Hey, I know what you're thinking. I know it has been a little while since I've made a video where I actually talked to you guys, but you have to excuse me. I mean, I was on vacation. I told you that me and my wife were going on a 7-day Carnival cruise, and we did, and it was absolutely amazing. Not exactly what I had in mind, but still amazing. Originally, I had planned to make videos every single day of the cruise. On a 7-day cruise, obviously that would be 7 videos at least, including the time that we left and drove down to the port at Port Canaveral, Florida, boarding the ship, each day on the ship, and also each of the islands that we visited. But unfortunately, I was on vacation. Mentally, physically, the whole deal. I was there and I couldn't find the energy or the passion to actually do a video every single day. Especially, you have to realize that when you're taking a cruise, there's a lot of stuff to do on the ship and on the vacation and on each of the islands that you go to. But, you know, on a 7-day cruise, we stopped at 3 islands. We were supposed to go to 4. I'll get to that later. We stopped at 3 ports of call. So realistically, 4 out of the 7 days would have been days at sea. So the things that I could have shown you every day probably would have been the same thing over and over, and that would have got a little bit boring. So instead of struggling very hard to film a video each day, what I decided to do instead was just kind of make this one long video. I know it's longer than the videos I normally make, and I do apologize for that, but hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully it'll show you what we did on our vacation and show you, that we did have a good time, some of the things that you can expect if you go on a cruise with Carnival at least. I've never been on another cruise line, but so this is what we've got to work with. The first things you see is just a little bit of footage from Port Canaveral, Florida, and from the upper decks of the ship while we're in Port Canaveral. And you can see a couple other ships in the background. You can see the water slides on the ship. You can see how pretty the water is on the side of the ship, even while we're still just outside of Florida. This was the giant TV that hung over the pool area. They played sports during the day, usually some movies and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. And then at night, it's pretty interesting as well. Like I said, they've got the big screen going at night. Everybody gathers around and watches whatever's on the screen, which was usually movies. People are still swimming at night. They're in the jacuzzis out there. I looked over the side a couple different times to see if we saw any castaways as we were passing by Cuba, but I never saw any. These shots really don't do this ship any justice. It's a beautiful ship. It's very pretty when it's lit up at night, but it's kind of hard to capture that. They did have a couple different laser shows while we were on board. They had a Pink Floyd laser show, just a couple different things, so it's pretty active at night. Exploring the inside of the ship, the first thing that I wanted to show you here is our cabin. When you walk in, you've got a little mini bar with a TV hanging above it, some closets on the left-hand side there. You've got a night table on either side of the bed. That's actually 2 twin-size beds pushed together to make a full-size bed. There's my beautiful wife straightening her hair, and then that's the little vanity with lights around it area. In the room you do have life jackets just in case. This is the bathroom. It's kind of small. Standard on a ship, just a shower, toilet, unless you have the bigger rooms. This was actually shot from a corridor that ran kind of outside of the Crimson dining room. The inside of the Crimson dining room is one of the formal dining rooms. We actually ate in the Scarlet dining room, was the one we were assigned to. Very similar though. This was shot in the lobby area of the ship. You can see some photographers taking pictures there. The elevators are behind me, and this actually is a spiral staircase, in the center of which has a singer and a keyboard player. They were not the best by American Idol standards anyway, but they were pretty good for onboard entertainment. It's very beautiful in the lobby area of the ship. If you've never been on a ship, you really, the first time, get blown away by how beautiful they are. I took a little bit of footage inside one of the Carnival Fun Shops, which is just a store to buy souvenirs, on board, magnets, t-shirts, stuff like that, which is actually where I got the Carnival shirt that I'm wearing right now. This is inside the Burgundy Lounge. This is just one of the many lounges where you can have a drink and you know, watch some entertainment. I don't remember what was going on specifically here. I just wanted to come in and film these creepy looking masks on the wall to show you guys. This is the Encore Theater, which is actually a very large theater on board the ship where they do their review type shows with singers and dancers and everything. And we tried to sit through one of the shows. Honestly, probably one of the worst shows I've ever seen. We shot a little footage inside the casino. It's a pretty large casino, blackjack tables, slot machines, all kinds of things going on. We did not try our luck because, you know, I always lose. There's a Club O2, which is like a teen club. These are the computers that are set up in the internet area. If you want to buy internet time while on the ship, you can do so. This is an area just right inside the Lanai deck, which wraps all the way around the ship. They have a barbecue, and there's a nice place to sit and eat your lunch from the Lanai barbecue and get a drink, perhaps. Speaking of food, that's one of my favorite parts of a Carnival cruise is everything is free. The only things that you'll pay for on board is if you decide to go to the really fancy, and I mean extremely fancy, 5-star Chef's Art Steakhouse on board. You're going to pay $30 per person in order to do that. And you'll pay for sodas and alcoholic beverages, but as far as your juice and water and lemonade type stuff, that's all free. All the food is free, and it's buffet style food for the most part. If you eat in the Lido deck restaurant, which we did for breakfast every morning. Of course, they do have a 24-hour pizza bar, which is just a godsend, and also ice cream machines are 24 hours. You can just eat pizza and ice cream until you just absolutely vomit, which I actually got the pleasure of watching some people do. You can eat dinner in the Lido deck restaurants as well and have a buffet style dinner, or you can do what most people choose to do and go to one of the more formal dining rooms. On this ship, it was the Crimson dining room and the Scarlet dining room. And in these dining rooms, you dress a little bit nicer, and on 2 particular nights are actually formal nights where you want to dress in a shirt and tie for the men and a dress for the women. So you might want to throw on fancy clothes and sit around a nicely decorated table and eat new things like frog legs, which I had never had before this cruise. And also mahi-mahi is a type of dolphin fish I had never had before. And then you've got Marlena eating macaroni and cheese. Classy. Yeah, baby. I didn't film a whole lot of the actual foods and the different choices you have for foods, especially within the Lido deck restaurant itself. You actually have like a pasta bar and just all kinds of different things that you can try out. And I didn't film a lot of that, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of different options on board whenever you go on a cruise of things to eat, so make sure you explore your options. And room service is also free. You can actually order room service on most ships directly from your TV because, you know, we're that lazy, and we did. You pull up a menu on the TV, tell it what you want, and a few minutes later somebody brings it up to the room. And of course you do not pay for any of that, you do not tip for any of that. That's all built into your gratuity that you can either pay up front at the time that you book your cruise, or you can settle up your gratuity on the last night of your cruise at the purser's desk. So I want to show you a little bit about the ports of call that we visited on this particular cruise, and the first port of call is Cozumel, Mexico, which is an island off the coast of Mexico and a very beautiful place. The area where the ship docks in Cozumel is called Costa Maya. In Cozumel, we pretty much got off the ship, filmed a little bit, from the outside of the ship and a little bit of the shopping area. From there, we took a taxi ride to what was called Ocean Beach, which was a fairly nice beach. However, I had an epic fail moment, and I forgot to clear out my memory card. It filled up while I was filming in the taxi on the way to the beach. So unfortunately, I didn't get any more pictures or footage after this point while we were in Cozumel. We had a pretty good time in Cozumel, though, at the Ocean Beach area. There was a lot to do there. It was a very beautiful area. People serving frozen drinks to us right there in our beach chairs. So that was a pretty good time. So moving right along to our next port of call in Belize is a port where they actually drop anchor and tender boat you in. So we had to wait in a lounge until they called us to get onto the tender boat and head into Belize. Beautiful yacht just sitting off the coast of Belize. Whoever has that much money, I wish I was friends with, because I'd like to hang out with them on the weekends. I'm just saying. And in Belize, we also did not do a whole lot. We videoed a little bit here inside the port. We did some shopping, that type of stuff, just looking around in the little local markets. There was a lot of beggars there, begging us to take taxi rides and stuff, so it was a little scary for us to just be there by ourselves. Might have explored more in a bigger group. We just had to hop back on the tender boat and head back to the ship there. And there's Marlena showing you the refrigerator magnet that we bought while we were in Belize, which is on my refrigerator downstairs. The tender boat was fairly large, but the water there was so rough that it was actually shaking us around a good bit while we were waiting for everybody to load back on the tender boat to head back out to our ship. So I filmed a little bit of how rough the water was. And actually that little ship there you see in the fog, that's how far away from our cruise ship we were. The return ride back to the ship on our tender boat was actually kind of fun. We sat in the back of the boat and I don't know, it was just kind of weird. It's just meant to be a mode of transportation from the port at Belize back to the cruise ship. It's not really something that you think of as entertaining, but for some reason I really enjoyed the boat ride back. It was relaxing, the boat was kind of fast, so it was a little bit on the fun side, and so I filmed some of that. Marlena with her beautiful smile as we head back there, and I did get a fair amount of water on my camera, which was nerve-wracking, but still I think this makes for some good shots. Say goodbye to our rich friends in the yacht. I even felt nice enough to hand my camera over to my wife and let her film me just soaking it all in. I mean, I could see our ship coming up, the water was beautiful. And yes, that's a Toby Turner Tobuscus shirt, so you should probably tweet him and tell him his shirt was featured in this video while I was in Belize, and maybe he'll shout it out. Probably not, but there you can kind of see we're approaching our ship, which is a fairly good sized ship. I don't know, if you realize that this particular ship was over 1,000 feet long. There was 4,500 total people on board the ship during this particular cruise, and it's probably my favorite ship I've ever been on. This is the fourth one I've been on, and definitely my favorite ship. The next, and my personal favorite port of call that we visited, is Mahogany Bay, which is on the island of Roatan in Honduras, and it was an absolutely beautiful area. But when we came to the lido deck to eat breakfast that morning, this is actually a view from our table out into the bay area. There's a sunken ship out there and this empty barge. And it doesn't really look like there's a whole lot going on here, but it's just a really almost breathtakingly beautiful place. And here's a view of the shopping area from the ship. Here in Mahogany Bay, just like most ports of call, you get off the ship and when you do a little bit of exploring, there's a lot of shopping going on, several bars, just, you know, all that stuff is there kind of just for the tourists. You kind of notice a trend, to be honest with you. Once you've been to several different ports, you realize that most of the things that you can buy in the shops there are very similar from one port to the next. There's almost always some sort of live music going on, which is kind of helps add to the atmosphere. I got brave and handed my camera to a very drunk person to get the shot of me and her with the ship in the background. This area right here is the Fat Tuesday bar in Roatan. It's a beautiful bar where you can stand in some big old pirate boots and take a picture, or get a really tall drink. We did both. We're on a little pathway right here which runs from Fat Tuesdays down by the ship to the beach area. There's also a chairlift you can see going overhead there. It's $12 per person to ride. It's a very short ride, and the chairlift actually goes so slow that we beat the people that were on the chairlift with us just walking down the pathway. So I really don't recommend spending the $12 per person unless you just really want an aerial view. Once you get to the actual beach area, there are rows and rows and rows of chairs. There's no charge to use the chairs unless you have a chair that has the little cabana type covering over it. Then you have to, I guess, rent those. There are lockers there, which I was thankful for because I rented my locker to store my camera in while we went and got in the water. But this is one of the only places that I've ever been where you were this close to the ship while you were swimming. I mean, you're 100 yards away from a huge ship with this beautiful beach, just beautiful water, white sand, palm trees. It's just an amazingly gorgeous area. Now here's one of my more brave moments. Not only are we standing on this very tiny pier over salt water with my camera just to be able to get the shot, but I even handed the camera to a stranger to let him take a picture of me and her together in that beautiful area, but it was worth it. Now, even though I did not make a video like I wanted to do every single day, and I didn't document probably even a quarter of the things that we did or that you can do on a cruise vacation, I think that this was a pretty good recap of what we did, and we had a really good time. There are pictures from our cruise available if you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/JoeSomebody1986, and look in the whatever album is on there that I put the pictures in. I don't really remember what it's called, but you can check those out. I'm glad I got to share our vacation video with you, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I know I had a good time making it, and trust me, I'd go back and do the whole vacation over again just to make you a better video if you want. Can't afford to, but it'd be fun. If you like the video though, make sure you actually click the like button, add it to your favorites, or possibly even forward it to other vacation enthusiasts that you think might be interested in it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'm Joe Somebody, and we'll see you next time, I guess. Okay, I'm done. That took forever. It's hot in here. Take a little water from my thermos now.